Happy football season, Big Sills and Big Sills. On Big Thursday, here we go, man. Starting National Football League season. Chiefs and Lions tonight. I can't tell you how excited I am about not just the pro season, but the college season and all the great storylines. Man, baseball and basketball and everything else, it's really third, fourth page stuff now. Football dominates our country. Football's the best sport on the planet because you know why? And you know what you can't do in our sport? You can't move goalpost. You can tune on a news show. Those guys are always moving the goalpost on you, aren't they? You know, voters and shit like that. Not here. You can't move the goalpost in sports. Like Tone says, a winner and loser. There's no debating. There's not a debate. And you know what? I hear people go, well, Jalen played great in the Super Bowl. And it's context. But hey, man, that's just another conversation for somebody who's looking for excuses every day. I want to start this off here. And you know me, I'm a conspiracy guy. I think Jonathan Gannon was Judas to Nick Sirianni. I think he sabotaged the Super Bowl now. I'll tell you why, with his attitude. So, you know, if you dissect that interview he did the other day, this is what he's telling Philadelphia sports fans and NFL fans and management who gave him an opportunity to be the defensive coordinator in Philly. And I want you to tell me how you feel about this man. Maybe I'm going overboard with this. You tell me. So he's implying that Nick wasn't smart enough and didn't have enough leadership as the head coach of the Eagles. That his DC, who by all accounts, this was his first big gig, went to the head coach and said, hey, if you want to save all of our careers, you'll give up the play calling and hand it to Shane. That's undermining. Why would a guy who has one of the 2 jobs in the world tell someone that on a podcast? That it is the same. He didn't have that decision. Then guess what? They were going to stay in a position where they would lose. I think we're having a little internet issues here, so I hope you'll hang in there with me. I got it a little bit. Breaking up a little bit. Hey, Tone, do you want to restart it, Tone? Okay. See if we can fix it here. Let's see if we can we here, it's coming back. Hang on, it's coming back. It's coming back here a little bit for us. Okay. There we go. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Tell me what you think of the comment that I just made. In case you guys didn't hear it, I'll do it again. So Jonathan Gannon is coming off like it was his decision to save the Eagles. And the Eagles are where they are because it was him who said when they were 2-5, Coach, you should give up your play calling duties. A defensive coordinator went to the head football coach, and the head football coach went, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'll listen to you, Jonathan. Am I wrong when I'm thinking that? That's a backhanded slap. I mean, that's a backhanded slap. So what he's done is he's trashed Nick Sirianni in the process of downplaying that if it wasn't for him, the Philadelphia Eagles wouldn't be where they are today. That's exactly right. Jonathan Gannon never respected Sirianni. That's why he didn't give him his best at the Super Bowl. You guys are right. Jonathan Gannon stabbed Sirianni and the Eagle players in the back in his preparation. That's how he sabotaged the Super Bowl. Why wouldn't it make him look better by making those comments? You had a guy who was not vested in the Super Bowl. Yes, you have a better coaching staff now. Yes, you do. You have a better coaching staff. You know why? Because I can trust you. That's right, Tone. Gardner Johnson was actually onto it. He thought that Jonathan Gannon was a two-faced also. You guys didn't want to hear him because Nick backed him. Remember what Angelo said 2 weeks ago? Angelo goes, yeah, man, Nick Sirianni didn't come on the program because I was bashing Gannon. He didn't come on the program. Nick had his back all the way to the end. Gannon was stabbing him behind the back, talking shit on him. Can you imagine what he said to Mike Bidwell, the owner of the Cardinals? It's unbelievable to hear. I've never heard an assistant coach take a shit on a head coach and downplay his importance. It's one thing for me to sit here and say something about Nick Sirianni. It's another thing for an assistant coach that he gave an opportunity to or signed off on an opportunity to, for him to be sitting there and why isn't this a bigger story? That while Sirianni and the entire organization and Howie Roseman and everybody, including the owner, were 100% behind Jonathan Gannon. No. You all have it wrong about. I was never wrong about him, was I now? I was never wrong about him. Seth Joyner and I were never wrong about him. Sirianni's too much of a good guy to Gannon. And he got played. It's correct. And it cost them the Super Bowl. Whew. Couple bad plays and bad coaching cost you that game. Wait, I'll take that back. A couple bad plays and a lack of loyalty cost you that game. My God. Dude, it's one thing to have a player not make a play in the Super Bowl or Hurts to put the ball on the carpet. It's another thing for your coach to be sabotaging you. If you watch the Super Bowl, you could see no adjustments the whole game. Sway said, hey, guys, am I taking – back me up here. Do I need to be backed up here? Do I see that this guy completely sabotaged that Super Bowl? He took a shit on him. I got you, Sway. Thank you. The timing of it all makes it even more disgusting. If I'm Sirianni, I refuse to let him distract us from the 2023 season. I get that. But you know what Sirianni now has to deal with? If Sean Desai's defense doesn't look good out of the gate, oh, you guys really miss me, don't you? He's setting up Sirianni for failure. If there is, I'm not saying there is. He's setting Sirianni up for failure. Instead of just going on his way and going and doing his business and worrying about his mousetrap, He wants to look better in Philly. 11, you're not going to be the same. You're not getting 70 sacks. You're not going to be the same defense you were a year ago. At least early on, they're going to say it's lesser. I'm not. You're playing better teams. If you give up 30 points or 28 points a game, and you're playing all these top-flight quarterbacks, do you actually think I'm going to come on here and go like this? Hey, it's a shittier defense. No, it's not a mature defense, what I've been saying, and you're playing better people. I'm not going to say Desai's a better or worse coach. We don't know that yet. I have never said that. I said your defense is going to have to take some time to mature. But he's setting Sirianni up and the new coaching staff for failure. Not that there will be. Gannon also sounds like a guy with regret. He is so focused on the rearview mirror, he doesn't realize the car wreck is right there in front of him in Arizona. Absolutely, Tone. He's trying to. You see, he can't talk shit on his current employer, on the train wreck that is the Cardinals. So he'd rather just lie. Do you know, I heard today from some Eagle coaches, assistant coaches, that the Eagles are furious. The Philadelphia Eagle coaching staff is furious with Jonathan Gannon that he would lie like that about Nick. That discussion never happened. Hey, why don't you give the play calling? It was a collective decision between Roseman and Sirianni. Then they presented it to Steichen. Gannon had nothing to do with it. I go like this, and I can't say the name. He went like this. Shane wasn't even in the room for the conversation, nor was I. Gannon was clearly not in the room. Then they went to Shane and told him, hey, this is what I think we're going to do because I need to be more focused. The head coach and the GM made that call. Man, damn, dude. Look, that's not going to impact and be the text of our show today, but that's a bigger story. The tampering and now the lies. You don't think that's a bigger story? 49ers, $24.6 million under the cap. Burns next? Doubtful. I saw what they did. They restructured Trent Williams and Kittle's deal so they can get further under the cap. Okay? Man. JM, how do you know it's not Stoutland? He was at one time the head football coach at the University of Miami. By the way, Mario Cristobal will be on with us. Big game against A&M, 4:30 Eastern time. We'll talk to the current head coach, get his take on what we're going to see this weekend. Big college action, obviously. So, head football coach of the Miami Hurricanes, Mario Cristobal, 4:30 Eastern time. We're going to move on here. We're going to have a little fun here as we get ready for tonight's game. But, man, you guys were right. You were sabotaged. Wasn't the field. Hey, and all the people who keep saying that Jonathan Gannon was a good D coordinator, he may have been a decent coach, but he was a horrible coach on the coaching staff. Wow, man, what a backstabber. That's the kind of shit head coaches have to fight. They won in spite of Jonathan Gannon. Man, I feel sorry for those players that are in that locker room. And that would make me more pissed off going into this year that we had a coach who was invested in the most important game of the year. Let's go out and get it, man, because we're owed it. That would give me motivation that there was somebody that wasn't rowing in the same direction with us. That's the only flaw I see in the last 2 years since they hired Nick Sirianni. You had one coach who was looking out for himself in his own self-preservation and his own future and not the current present. That's the only flaw and the only horrible hire that they have had in a long time. He is a horrible hire. He sabotaged the Super Bowl. He sabotaged it in his preparation and his mentality for the game. You win games like that, the Super Bowl, with passion. Passion for what you love. Your preparation. Everybody's good in the NFL. What a shitbag, man. Boy, I can't wait to play that team this year. Man, I would run the score up on them SOBs as much as if I could score 100 points, I would. I would, if it was 3 seconds left in the game, I would run it down their throat. And if Kyler Murray's playing, I would take cheap shots at his ass. If I saw you standing on the sidelines, put Derek Barnett in the game. Let him take out Jonathan Gannon standing there. Dude, terrible. Did you take the bus today? That guy's such a phony, man. Honestly, a scarecrow has more integrity than that dude standing still. Let's move on now because I'm pissed off, man. You lost the Super Bowl because of shitty coaching, not because of Jalen scoop and score. He didn't give a shit if you won it or not. He only cared that he was going to be the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals with his $10 million house in Scottsdale. And then he turns around going, Sirianni's not the... Hey, we're going to talk about Nick. Do you know what he's basically saying? Sirianni's not that good a coach. His assistant coaches were pulling all the... We're calling all the shots. An assistant coach told a head coach. So do you think Kellen Moore told Mike McCarthy when he got the head football coaching job, hey, if you take the Cowboy job, know that you're not taking my play calling away? Since when does the assistant coach have more autonomy over you? Look, I believe that Nick goes with what Howie and all them say, but I do not believe those assistants tell Nick what to do. I do not believe that at all. You know, I may think Nick's kind of a cheerleader, but I don't think Nick sits there going, hey, what do you think I should do? I think he says, what do you think we should do? Dude, I personally think this is a bigger story. But nobody in Philly wants to cover that because the Eagles, I'm telling you, the Eagles are pissed off right now at this guy. But they don't want to get it in the way, and they don't want to make it public, and they don't want to make a big story out of it because they're focused on New England. Okay? And they're focused on beating the Patriots. That's the right thing. Dude, run the score up on that guy. Just run the score up on him. Beat him 58-0. Run the score up on him. Man, I would make that game so ugly that there will not be a handshake. And I would make him a villain. Dude, I hate that guy more than I hate Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons at least didn't cost you a world championship, especially in football. Ben Simmons cost himself a career in Philly. This guy cost you a Super Bowl. Man, I can't think of a bigger villain in Philly history than that guy. This thing's playing out that way. I told you he was house hunting. I told you he was distracted and not focused on the game. I told you this. Now he's telling you Sirianni really had nothing to do with anything. I did. I made the call. I saved the Eagles. And I saved the entire coaching staff when we were 2-5. It was his call. He saved it. He saved the roster. He saved Jalen Hurts. He's basically taking credit for Jalen Hurts. A D coordinator is taking credit for Jalen Hurts too. Am I wrong? He's taking credit for putting the right coach with Jalen. Tell me, am I overcooking this? Hey, Nick's not the right coach for Jalen. Shane Steichen is. Oh, okay. Really? Tell me I'm wrong. Is that Tone? Is that too over the top? That I'm reading into this? Hey, man, why don't you just turn it over to Shane? We're 2-5. We'll get fired anyway at the end of the year. And if you want to fill in the lines, you're not the right coach for him. Shane is. And basically what he's saying is, let's put the right coach with him. You're not the right coach for Jalen. Even if you're overcooking it, Gannon should never put the damn bird in the oven. Hey, JM, that has to be one of the best lines so far, man. Eagle fan goes, Sills, for once I agree. Okay? Yes, that's it right there, Tone. Gannon is like a crazy ex. Just won't go away, man. Right? Just won't go away, man. I need money. I bet you do. Hey, I need some respect. I bet you do, because no one has it for you off that bus comment you had and that stupid ass motivational thing you put out there. Did you get off the bus? Did you get off the bus? Did you take the bus? I was like, why do I believe Dion more? I think the Desert Sands got into that guy. I mean, let's do this, man. I'm going to say this to you now. Has my opinion changed to Nick Sirianni? I'm going to say this to you, man. He's a loyal dude. Nick Sirianni is what, you think, to this organization? Elite? Good? Average? Or a joke? According to Jonathan Gannon, he's a joke. You know, I was going to put poor, but I put joke there because that's what the coach is saying. What is he? What is Nick Sirianni? As he goes into year 3. Ty says he's elite. He's okay. His players respect Sirianni. Only one way that happens. You're not wrong, Nathan. Nathan, being a head coach is a people skill. It's not always about X's and O's. James says a great coach. Let me define this to you on 2 types of coaches. Do we agree that Nick Sirianni's different than Doug Peterson and Andy Reid? Do we agree that those 2 guys are different? Okay. Well, Jalen, let's take a look at that when you say when you say he's a great coach, because he might be after this conversation. They're 2 different guys, right? By the way, I'm not bashing any one of these guys here with this because I think they fit in a different category. Now, would Jimmy Johnson fit in the Andy Reid, Doug Peterson category? No. I would never lie to you guys and go, hey, Jimmy's a great play caller. Because he's not. He may have an opinion on something, but he's a people guy. Jimmy's not a play caller. So he fits more with what Nick does. And what is that? A delegator. He balances his coaching staff with equal time and equal involvement, but never getting too involved. Is that a great coach? How many times do we see certain guys who can't make that transition? You see, this is the transition that Nick is making. Nick is making a transition from being a centric wide receiver coach, then the offensive coordinator, then he's had to go like this. I just can't be like this. I got to be more like this. I can't be micro. I got to be macro. I got to look at everything. Because I can't, if I'm looking at one side of the ball, I become Josh McDaniels. I become Matt Patricia in Detroit. Right? I think there has to be a belief and a trust in your assistants to do that. And you had a coach who, in spite of your 100%, do you know when Angelo came on this program 2 weeks ago, Nick Sirianni fell on the sword for Jonathan Gannon every single week, to a point where Sirianni wouldn't go on the show anymore at the final show for Angelo Cataldi in his brilliant career. He wouldn't go on the final show. He fell on the sword for him because he believed he had his back. That's a great coach because that translates to the players. That makes him genuine. That hokey bullshit jumping on the park benches and screaming at fans and shit, it's who he is. I get it. I disagree with Angelo here because I think Angelo's looking at coaches like Andy Reid and Doug Peterson, and those coaches are completely different. They are different. They're play callers. And they have a lot of trust in their D coordinators. Hey, Steve Spagnuolo, there's a reason why he's one of the highest paid defensive coordinators in the National Football League. He's got total autonomy on that Kansas City side over there. Remember when Sean McVay got the job in Los Angeles with the Rams? What did he do? He hired Wade Phillips. Had to have trust. So I look at Nick, and what would I call Nick? Do I think he's elite? No. Do I think he's good? I think he's better than good. You played in the greatest football game ever. Even if I was rooting for the other team, really enjoyed the show. Hey, Mark, stop doing that. Okay? Yes, 100 million people watched that game that night. And watch this, I had a Jalen Hurts game in that night. Mark, I had a Jalen Hurts game, but it doesn't really do me any good because we lost. Okay? Sills latches on to any negative story about the Eagles. This isn't what's negative. Wait a minute. So this guy just said to me, he doesn't want me to talk to you about a guy who threw the Super Bowl and sabotaged your game. This ain't negative on the Eagles. This is negative on this dude. This got nothing to do with the Eagles. The Eagles had faith in him. The Eagles believed in him. The Eagles had blind faith in that coach. The players had blind faith in that coach. It's not their fault. It's this guy's fault. Dude, you lost that game, in my opinion. Some poor plays in the game, and that guy. The field was tilted. You had one coach who wasn't ready. And you know what kills me? And I hate to say this because I really like him. How many times, Tone, have we had John McMullen come on and say, if anybody thinks that Jonathan Gannon wasn't prepared for that game is absolutely crazy? I'd like to know if he still thinks that. I'd like to really know if John McMullen thinks that still. He just basically came out and took a shit on your head coach. What would I call Nick? Nick's getting better and better like Jalen's getting better and better. Okay? He's getting better and better. And the thing that I like about him, there's a little bit of a Dion quality in him. I totally believe that the players have to like this guy and they have to believe this guy or they wouldn't play for this guy. I completely believe that. Okay? I completely believe that. Wow. What a story. It's we kind of all felt it, but to hear somebody try to elevate their importance over the head coach and using him as a prop to prop himself up while you have the job somewhere else. What's the point? What's the point of this now on game day at the start of the season? Right? I don't know what the point is. Let's move on. Tomorrow we'll give you our game plan. But what I want to do right now before we get into some of the topics here, by the way, my week 1 quarterback ranking list, we're going to do that here in a sec. Just some takeaways for you to think about tonight as you're getting ready for Sunday's game against New England. I heard Tom Curran on with the guys in Sports Take. Isn't it funny? Seems that all 5 guys now are going to play in that game on Sunday. Don't ever believe anything coming out of New England that the offensive line are hurt. Don't believe anything. All 5 look like they're going to start. I thought they were all banged up. I thought they were all hurt. Wait a minute. All 5 guys are going to start? Jeez. Wonder why. Yeah, because they're sending false information out because they want the Eagles to start reading press clippings. Oh, we're going to kill this team. Oh, don't believe anything coming out of New England. Why would you? Spygate, Deflategate. They're in the Cincinnati Bengals press box, taping games, even though they were told not to. Why in the world would you believe any of this crap? Why would you believe anything that he says when it comes to he signs Jalen Reagor? It must be because of his wonderful ability. Okay? Must be because of the fantastic ability he has. Right? Breaking into radio frequencies, not having... Do you know that rule on the sidelines with headsets is because of New England? That if your side goes out, the other side has to go out too. That's a New England Patriot rule. Big Sills, we all knew that Gannon was a potential bomb to destroy us. I trust Reich or on Sirianni from Indy. All coaches have their own personality. That's not a personality. That's an angler. Jonathan Gannon is angling his way by shitting on other people to elevate himself. You know, I mean, he even was throwing, and look, I'm all for it too when players don't play and make plays in games. But you don't tell the public that. Hey, this was my call. I screwed that game up and, you know, I should have had a better game plan. Yeah, we needed to make a play there. We needed to do. Hey, we're not blind. We're not blind. We saw it. But when coaches say that, it's excuses. I hate when coaches blame players publicly. What's the point? And when a player blames a coach, like CJ did, he gets roasted by the media. You roasted Gardner Johnson when he said, that guy didn't put us in position to win. I'll work on Chris Berman for you. My wife used to get him on for me all the time. So when CJ says it, all the Philly media roasted him. That guy didn't put us in a position in the Super Bowl to win. He got killed. Yeah. JM goes, Arians used to blame Brady. Well, the difference there is they won a Super Bowl. They didn't lose one. Here's some, let's get into the Patriots here. I want you to think about these things as we're getting ready for tomorrow's pregame. I'll give you what I think they have to do in the game plan. But these are some things I want you to think about as you get ready for Sunday's game. I can't believe this stat. Is this really the fourth year in a row that the Eagles are going to start the season on the road? Is it 4 years in a row that the Philadelphia Eagles now are starting on the road? I mean, is that right? Kind of odd. 4 years in a row, right? 2 years under Sirianni. Falcons, right? 4 years in a row, the Eagles. Detroit last year. The Patriots are not one of the favorites, obviously, to win the AFC East. Mac Jones enters his third season. Let's see. Hey, hang on for a second, guys. How do you want Cristobal today? What's the best way to get him on? Zoom link. Here, let me just send this here. I'm sorry, I'm producing on the side here. Zoom link has been sent to him. There we go. Patriots are not one of the teams, obviously, that is going to be one of the teams too. Here, I need to get an email here. I apologize about this, guys. Your email. I'm doing my show now. Yeah. No, Tone's not slacking off. Nope, Tone's not slacking off. Nope. We're just producing on the fly because it's a big game this week for the Hurricanes. And they're playing Texas A&M, so we're going to get this thing here done here in a second here. Here we go. So I'm just going to send this to Tone, and then we'll be on our way here. I apologize, everyone. Producing on the fly, right, Tone? Producing on the fly. Let's see. Okay, hey, can you correspond with my guy there, Tone? I just sent you a text, and we can – no, Coach Cristobal, send it to this guy here and take over here a little bit for me here so we can we can move on here now. So we're all good now. Let's move on here. All right. Thank you guys for being patient. Mac Jones enters his third year. Guys, what kind of quarterback do you think he is? I think Mac Jones, where would you put him in the top 32? Okay. Where would you put Mac Jones in the top 32? Where would you put him? Where would you put Mac Jones, a starting quarterback, for 25, 20? He's not 32. 25 in the around 20 to 25 in there. 23. Yeah. I'm with you. Around in there. Okay. Around in there. Somewhere in there. Yeah. Okay. I agree. I think Bill O'Brien is going to be a huge addition to the offense and to how the Eagles are going to have to attack that offense, do I think the Philadelphia Eagles are a better roster than the New England Patriots? Absolutely. Absolutely. But they have components on that team that can give them trouble. Now, Ramondre Stevenson can play. He's a good football player. Zeke is good. And here's one of the components. Ace says, Sil's karma's coming for Gannon. He went to Arizona to suffer football. It's supposed to be a brotherhood. Everyone should be united, not a scumbag. Absolutely true. That's kind of my point, Ace. Okay, that's kind of my point here. Here's where I'm going here with the Patriots. Ramondre Stevenson and Zeke and the Eagles were 16th last year against the run. Is that a concern? I think so. I do. Steve, I'll get to that a little bit later. Let me get through this first. They got some pretty good tight ends. That guy Mike Gilski, is that his name? Is that the kid from Dallas? And they got Hunter Renfrow. Or excuse me, Hunter Henry, who used to be with the Chargers. And you look at those guys and you say this to me. When I say those two guys, Mike Gesicki, is that his name? Right? The Dolphins. That's right. Thank you, Hollywood. He was a Dolphin. Gesicki. That's right. Thank you, JM. What do you guys think of Hunter Henry and Gesicki? What do you guys think of those two guys? Are they top flight tight ends? No. But you don't have top flight linebackers. Okay? Talented but can't stay healthy. But Tone, here's the deal. Do you have just as talented of a linebacker to cover those guys coming out of the backfield? So here's a question, and here's how I'm going to look at this. Well, they have the component to run the ball, and it's going to be an interesting matchup to see if your linebackers are going to be able to cover good tight ends. Not great tight ends. Good tight ends. Okay? Good tight ends. The kid in Miami can run. Okay? And there it is. See, it's not so much that these guys are top flight dudes. I'm not giving you that. Thank you, JM, for the pronunciation. And this kid Gesicki's a good player, right? He's good. I mean, he's not spectacular. Fast, good hands. He can play. Hunter Henry can play. He's a good football player. Do you have the talent to cover those guys? I think that's a question mark. So wait a minute now. Think about it. The Patriots offense has a tight end maybe mismatch on the Eagles, and the run game's going to be tested. You're not going to go after. Do you have safeties to cover those guys? How do you know? These guys are bona fide pros. They're good players. And they got a pretty decent wideout in Juju Smith-Schuster who beat you in the Super Bowl. Not that he's great. He's a 2-3 guy in most places. Do you understand that they have some components to keep this game pretty close because of your defense? Look, your offense is spectacular. Okay, this is another key matchup that you're going to have to look at. Okay? I caught a podcast for the Patriots today, and they said their number one concern for the season was their O-line, even when fully healthy. Hey, relative, I believe that. I believe that. I think they're going to have a tough time protecting. That's why I think you're going to see a lot of 3- and 5-step drop. It's going to have to be timing routes. And here's another component that you're going to look at with Sean Desai now. Okay? Think about this component with Sean Desai now. Well, is he going to play man coverage? The Eagles don't play man coverage. They play zone coverage. Are you going to get up and knock these guys off the line of scrimmage? Who's covering them? Are you going to take Hassan Reddick out of that with a bum hand to take on one of these tight ends? Who's covering these guys? I think they have a matchup in certain areas that the Eagles are weak at. I caught a Patriots podcast. Yep, relative, thank you very much for doing that. We got you. I agree. I agree with you. I said it yesterday. I think they're going to be one of the worst teams in defending the quarterback if you go 7. That's why I said it yesterday. I think it's going to be a lot of quick hitch stuff. Okay? A lot of quick hitch stuff. And look, if the Eagles can stop the run and they can cover these tight ends, and Stevenson caught 60 passes out of the backfield. These linebackers are going to get stressed. This is a game for the Kobe Dean and Jordan Davis. And maybe Sidney Brown. If those guys can't stop the run and you can't cover these people, what happens when you get into a game against really qualified and really talented guys? That's why this game, in my opinion, in a week 1, this thing's going to be a close ball game. This is not a blowout. You don't have blowout material on defense. You do not have blowout material. Your offense is probably the best group of players in the National Football League per position. That's a given. Not on defense, it isn't. And the Patriots know that. You think the Patriots don't have enough offense, but they have the kryptonite to your weaknesses. You can't cover tight ends. You couldn't a year ago. You're lesser today. You were 16th in the league last year with good players stopping the run. That's where the game's going to be won or lost. Right there. The game is going to be won or lost on what I just said. Okay? If they step up and play now look, I'll tell you something else about Jalen Carter here in a second. The thing about the Eagle defense is they have tons of athleticism and speed. But will the young guys be able to limit their reps? We got to watch for that. I'm going to say this to you. I think the Patriots are going to have their hands full with Jalen Carter and try to stopping him getting up the field. I do. I think they're going to have their hands full. Okay? So what do you do with a guy that's really got great feet? You do a lot of misdirection shit at him. Once again, I saw something on WIP. They put this poll out there, and people in Philly believe you have a better coaching staff than the Patriots. You do not. Not even remotely close. Okay? Not even remotely close. Yeah, and JM goes, Mac holds the ball. That's why they got to get it out of his hands quick. They can't let him sit back there because I think he struggles reading progression, and that O-line's not good enough to keep him protected. They better double team Carter. Yeah. They better do some quick passes. Means get your hands up fast. That's what Tracy's telling them right now. Get your hands up. Okay? Get your hands up quick. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, throw. You see, but your corners don't play man. Are they going to play man? Or are they going to play press? They're zone cover corners. They're not press cover corners. Jasicki can't block Carter one-on-one. Carter's a defensive tackle. He's a tight end. They don't play against one another. They'll never line up against one another. So that has no bearing on Sunday's game. He's either going to be in the slot or he's going to be a tight end. Carter's going to be either the 3 or the 1. They'll never see one another. They'll never cross paths. Reddick will see the tight ends. Brandon Graham will see the tight ends. Josh Sweat will see the tight ends. Maybe Nolan Smith, depending on what his back is. Okay? Please explain how are the Patriots going to stop us? Riley, well, they got a better defense than you. All their pieces are coming back. They're top 10. They're going to be top 10 again. They got 3 guys or 2 guys, is it? With double-digit sacks too. I think they got really good defensive tackles. They got good linebacker play. They were 8th in the NFL last year in defense. I don't know. They didn't lose anybody. They're good defensively. They've got to limit, and they've got to get Hurts off the field. Here's what the Patriots can't do. They can't allow a 14-play drive. Because if the Patriots allow, I'll say this to you. If the Patriots allow 2 14-play drives in the first 4, shit, man. New England's going to be fighting uphill the entire game. Now, but here's the one thing that Philadelphia can't do. They can't put teams away. So Philadelphia will keep the Patriots in the game because they kept everyone in the game last year. 3-interception game for Mac Jones. Okay, that's your opinion. We'll see. I don't think Bill O'Brien's going to put him in a position to do that. I think they're going to run. See, I don't believe 3 interceptions. You know why? I think the Patriots are going to run the ball 40 times. I think you'll see 25 passes. I think you'll see screens, checkdowns, and to the tight ends, maybe a crossing route to Schuster, maybe. But you're not going to see high percentage turnover plays going in the middle of the field. Unless they feel the secondary and the safety position is not what people are saying, that they're going to be okay. I don't know that yet because I haven't seen that position play, so I can't make that guess yet. I want to see them out there all together. But you're not going to see a lot of high percentage passes in this game by New England. New England would rather punt the ball than throw the ball 25 yards down the field. Don't you get that? They want to learn. They want to live for another day, which means they want this thing to be a fourth quarter field position game and time of possession game. You're not looking at it right. They're not going to sit back there and have 4 passes plus 25 and punt. You lose the game that way. This is a strategic game for New England. Okay? Mac Jones throws will not go over 10 yards on Sunday. Absolutely. Why would you? Why would you? You got a 1,000-yard back and a 500 reception back and a 60 catch back, and you got Zeke back there maybe for some red zone shit and short yardage. Why would you throw the ball down? And you got tight ends that you feel can match up against. The tight ends in New England can match up against the Eagle linebackers. You don't have better linebackers. They may be equal. They may be, but I know those guys are pros. I don't know anything. Zach Cunningham's good. I don't know anything about Dean. He can cover anything. Those other guys are pretty good ball players. So we're going to find out if the Eagles can cover. You couldn't cover shit last year. You had the worst cover team last year. Linebackers couldn't cover last year. Kaiser White couldn't cover. TJ couldn't cover. But now all of a sudden you got an upgrade. Maybe. Those guys are ball players, though. Okay? Look, here. Am I sitting here today on a Thursday saying that the Patriots can beat them? Here. New England, for the New England Patriots to beat the Eagles, it's going to have to be something like this. 200 yards rushing on 38 attempts. The Eagles are going to have 3 turnovers, and there's going to have to be a special teams play. I don't know what that is. Shitty punt. They give up a half a field like they did last year, and it puts them in a position to go half the distance. They have to win time of possession. They have to run more plays than the Eagles do. I mean, they have to be around 70 plays, and the Eagles have to be around 59 for them to win. That's the numbers you're looking at. You're limiting touches. That's how you beat Mahomes. You can't get it. Dude, worst thing you do with Mahomes team is getting into a shootout with him. I don't want to be in a shootout with that guy because he throws his team out of trouble. I want him on the sidelines. Okay? Easy game, 31-24 is an easy game. If you call that an easy game, I'll take that score. Okay? To me, that's a fourth quarter football game, 31-24. Scoring late? Okay? I'll take that game if I'm New England. That keeps me in it. It's a good test for us early. Pat's defense is fast. Correct. Turner, fantastic take. By the way, I've said nothing about Jalen. I've said nothing about him. I think that offense, this is going to be so interesting. You know, I heard people saying this, and I heard a guy, I can't remember what show it was on our network, because there's a lot of people that think that Jalen Hurts is going to make a step back. And I don't think people understand what people around the league and NFL experts and football personnel people say when they say make a step backwards. It's not that they make a step backwards. There's more film on him now. Last year, I don't think teams knew how to defend him. I think they do now. Okay? I think they know how to defend him. Or they're going to come up with a scheme to try to defend him. Look, if you could defend Cam Newton, if you can defend Joe Montana, all those quarterbacks make step backwards. Why? Because these coordinators come up with a way to slow you down. It's not that get this, Jalen's numbers might even go down. You know why? Because of the teams you're playing. They may limit your series. You may not have the same amount of numbers, but you may still see better decision-making. This comes down to decision-making. You guys understand that? Sills wants to be on both sides if they win. I don't do that shit, man. I don't straddle a fence. I'll give you my opinion on Friday. I'm not straddling shit. And see, what I'm trying to do here for Philly is, and he don't understand it, is that I'm not going to sit here on a Thursday and not debate how to beat a team or how another team can beat you. That's what I'm doing here. And if you can't hear that, and you want to hear a guy talking about how great you are and how great this shit is and how you're better, then you go listen to those dumbass shows. I'm talking about week one against a really great coached football team against, hey, by the way, the Bill Belichick era in the history of the National Football League, I don't give a shit that it's running out of some steam here. I think they're going to be competitive again. Bill Belichick has the greatest era of coaching in pro football history. Get over it. That is the greatest era of football we have ever seen. With some of the best decision makings of all time. One of the greatest, there were two decisions that he made, he never gets credit for. It's the greatest era. And Keon goes, not since Tom left. Well, let me tell you how that all worked. Bob Kraft gave Drew Bledsoe a $118 million contract. $18 million signing bonus. They draft Brady. All of a sudden, he's watching. He sees him in practice. He's watching. A 6th-round draft choice. And the first overall player taken in, the highest paid quarterback, is sitting in New England. Happened to be a Jet game. Belichick goes, we're going to put Brady in. Puts Brady in. 6th-round pick, a Brock Purdy kind of decision. Brady gets hurt. Bledsoe has to go back in. Hey, you going to stick with the guy, the veteran? No. I'm going with Brady in the Super Bowl. And the rest is history. Can you imagine if Nick Saban had made the right choice of taking Bledsoe? Or, excuse me, Drew Brees, or if other teams had drafted the right quarterback, he did draft him and develop him. Tom Brady cries when he talks about Belichick's influence in his career. That was a decision that he made. He made that decision. He had to go to his owner then and go, we're going to trade Drew Bledsoe. I just gave him $18 million. They trade him to the Bills. How many cheating scandals? Deflated footballs never factored into anything. They won 3 after him. All those scandals you guys talk about, how come they won numerous Super Bowls after every one of those stupid made-up media things? Didn't seem to affect them. The greatest era of pro football in history you're going against. You can't debate it. You can't. You want to hear this? Every year when Brady and Belichick were together, how about this stat, Tone? Every other year that those two were together, they went to the Super Bowl, and that's 20 years. Every other year, they went to the Super Bowl. Never be duplicated. Ever. My week 1 power rankings for my quarterbacks. We're going to do that. Mario Cristobal, the head football coach of the Miami Hurricanes, is going to join us at 4:30 Eastern. They have a huge game against Texas A&M, one of the big games this weekend. Texas and Alabama, too. Colorado, Nebraska. Those 3 games will probably be your frontline games. We're going to talk to the head coach of the Hurricanes at 4:30 Eastern time. My friends at Hooters, I can't wait to tell you this. Tone and I got something awful special for you tomorrow. We'll let you know a little bit tomorrow, but have your minds right because we're going to be giving some gift certificates away tomorrow, okay? And some merch with our friends at Hooters. The 40th anniversary. We're so excited to do this. So be prepared. All the 7 locations in the Northeast area, go to northeasthooters.com to find one of those locations for you to be able to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Hooters with us. By the way, I saw a guy prior to coming on. He was like, this, Sills, I'm eating a ton of Hooters now. That's right. You can order Hooters online at hooterstogo.com, and you can have yourself ready for football tonight, Saturday, Sunday, Monday night. There's a good one, Jets and Bills, the official home of all Eagle fans, too. And don't forget, King of Prussia, Big Sills is going to be rolling around there. We're going to have a great time, tailgate parties. I can't wait to tell you. Some of the great specials, buy 10 wings, 10 boneless for free. Wing Wednesdays, one of the great 40-year traditions. That's right, 1983, man. That's the year the place was found. Kids eat free on Saturdays. NortheastHooters.com. Find one of the 7 locations nearest you for you to enjoy what I've been talking about for just as long, the 40th anniversary of Hooters. And when you go in, do me a favor. You tell them Big Sil sent you.